What's up, everyone? Nagler here, PackersNews.com, live on Facebook late in the day on Wednesday. The Packers reportedly looking to trade up, per Wrapup of the NFL Network, during tomorrow night's televised first round of the NFL Draft. Obviously, no word on who they might be targeting, although Wrapup did indicate it would be a defensive player, most likely. Instantly, one thinks Minka Fitzpatrick from Alabama, Tremaine Edmonds, Virginia Tech. Those are the types of players they could be targeting. I've also heard, they're looking to trade down too. So you never know. Yeah, we'll see what happens when things kick off tomorrow night. It certainly would be one way for Brian Gutekunst to announce his presence with authority, as someone once said. People chiming in. James says Ward has to be the target. Possible. That's absolutely a possibility if he's looking to get that lockdown corner. What's up, Colorado? Fredo, thanks for joining us. No drinking on the job, not today, or any day, for that matter. North Pole, Alaska says, hi, what's up, John? Dez is just sitting there, says Mary. I saw a report today that he probably won't sign until after the draft, which makes sense. I also saw a report from Ed Werder saying that Dez Bryant turned down a multi-year deal from the Ravens. He's hoping to get a one-year deal. Tell you what, the longer he's out there, the better the chances the Packers make a call. They would have to get him at their price, but if he was willing to take a little less, I think the idea of a one-year deal with Aaron Rodgers throwing you the football, it could be mighty productive. We'll see. We'll see what happens on that front. How far does Chubb have to fall for the Packers to make a run? I would think probably around the 8, 9, 10 range, but I'd be very surprised if he makes it that far. Trade Cobb in our second to Denver and grab Chubb. I don't think they're giving up Randall Cobb, and I doubt anyone's trading for his contract, so I doubt that's going to happen. What about Josh Jackson? I've had a few people ask about him. He wasn't in my first round mock draft. I just think NFL teams are going to see the lack of speed, and I think he's a perfect second round prospect. Obviously, everyone knows about the production he had, taking the football away his senior year, but there's a lot more to the game than just being opportunistic. Clearly, that's a big thing. That's a big trait to have, and people are going to covet it. But I just think there are guys with higher upside, more athleticism that teams are probably going to look at first. Now, all that said, watch him go 10th overall to the Raiders. How far do you think the Packers are willing to move up? I would guess probably around 6 or 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, around that area, because you have to think those quarterbacks are going to go off the board pretty fast and furious early on. I don't think they really need to get up much higher than that. What's up, Fresno? How are you? Columbus, Indiana checking in. What's up? You can check out the pinned story right here for all the latest on the Packers in the draft. What's the temperature at Lambeau? It's a little cooler than it was yesterday, but still very pleasant. Christopher says, stay at 14 and draft what's available. I understand that thinking and that mentality. I understand that impetus, but I think the problem that the Packers are facing here is there's a definite tier of defensive studs that falls off prior to 14. Guys like Harold Landry, who probably will be available, or Marcus Davenport, etc. I don't think the Packers would see them as being worth the 14th overall pick. And there's a decent chance someone may call to try and get a quarterback if one of them slides. So I wouldn't be surprised if they traded down, or if they used some ammunition and got up and got a guy they loved. But at 14, the one real value pick that might be there is Vita Vea, which I've been saying for months. It makes a lot of sense if they want to consider him. So, like I said, I understand wanting to just stay at 14 and make the selection, and I think that makes sense. It's all about what they think the value is and what their grades are on the prospects that are available. Packers stay at 14 and take Davenport. I'm telling you what, I highly doubt it. I don't think they like him. I mean, I think they like him just fine, but I don't think they like him enough to take him at 14. Let's see. Denton, Texas. What's up, Charles? Thanks for checking in, man. John, thoughts on Roquan Smith? I think he's the best overall inside linebacker in this draft. I think Tremaine Edmonds has probably a lot more upside, but I think Roquan Smith is a guy who's going to step on the field day one and be a difference maker right out the gate. And I'll be absolutely shocked if he makes it past the San Francisco 49ers. The Packers trade up to 4. Could Barkley be a possibility? Never say never, but I would be flummoxed and shocked if that was the target of their trade up. We're going to be aggressive in this draft. Possibility. With 2 or 3 other starters, the defensive line thing. Yeah, I understand the reticence to draft Vita Vea when they have strength along the defensive line. But, fresh legs in the fourth quarter has won many a football game, especially being able to collapse pockets against worn-out offensive lines. That's how the Super Bowl ended. And, with, like I said, the value at that pick at 14, it's very possible that if Vita Vea is on the board, he could be the best player available. And rather than reaching, they could go for value and give themselves a really kick-ass kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 punch up front. Our running backs are fine. No need to talk Barkley. Matt, I tend to agree. I think personally we're going for Ward. Zach, it's a legit possibility. There's no doubt about that. Rob Demoski picked Davenport in the mock draft. I know he did. What would it cost to move up? Probably a 3rd-round pick to get up where they want to go. Maybe an additional later-round selection. Do you think they'll stock up on offensive line in later rounds? I think that there's more a possibility of that than them taking an offensive lineman early on. Now, you can't rule anything out, but they have a very strong track record of identifying those prospects, guys who are usually athletic tackles that are probably just a hair, less athletic than they need to be for the NFL, who can slide in and play guard, things of that nature. But, yeah, I think there's a good chance you see at least 2 offensive linemen on day 3. Let's see, what else we got? At this point, anyone but Davenport, says Sean. I don't know about anyone but Davenport, but, like I said, I don't think they like him at 14. But you can't rule the guy out. Perhaps they drop down and get him later. You can't deny his upside. What are your plans after the draft? Vacation? Actually, yeah. Now that you mention it, the end of May, I'm going to London for a week. I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm not going to talk to any of you people. Need to get more talent in the secondary. I think that would be probably a good bet. And I tend to think if they are jumping up, one of the premier secondary players in this draft are probably the most likely targets. Whether that's Ward, Fitzpatrick, maybe even James. I think the good money is probably bet on those players. I'm not going to rule out like a Tremaine Edmonds or something like that, but I tend to think they would want to get one of those premier guys. Most overrated cornerback in this year's draft class? I don't know. It depends on who's doing the rating, right? I saw someone today, I think it was my buddy Ben Fennell, who said Josh Jackson is his #1 corner in this draft class. I wouldn't say that. I think that's Ward, but we're allowed to have a difference of opinion, I don't know. I missed the rest of the question because it cut off, but I love that someone asked about the Tampa Bay Parrot that is set to fly in and deliver the pick for the Buccaneers' 3rd-round selection. What a circus. Thanks, Amanda. Very nice of you to say. What's the scene like at 1265 Lombardi today and tomorrow? Well, today it's really quiet. Tomorrow it'll be a little more nuts. They open up, I think, early in the morning, and then anticipation builds throughout the day. A bunch of media stuff happening, and then we'll all settle in the auditorium, the media auditorium there, to start following the draft probably a little bit before it starts. And then they're off to the races at 7 p.m. I love Justice's draft chart. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Justice Mosqueda's Packers draft chart, or draft board at cheeseheadtv.com, make sure you check that out. It's really excellent. It's really good work. He does a really good job of looking at athletic traits that the Packers have traditionally liked and focused on, and pretty much eliminates guys based on their athletic testing, and comes up with a board that's been pretty effective the last few years that he's done it. Vita at 14, then trade back into 28-13 and pick Jackson. Are you talking about Lamar Jackson? Woo, that'd be a hoot, wouldn't it? Would cause some waves. I would be very surprised if the Patriots don't come out of the first round with Lamar Jackson, but that's just me. So Julio Jones isn't going anywhere, right? Yes, that is correct. He's not going anywhere. You look like a college professor. It's the jacket. I'm going to be on TV tonight. If you're in Wisconsin, in northeast Wisconsin, I'll be on Cover 2 on local ABC. So talking draft and whatnot. So make sure you check that out if you're in the area. Do Isaiah Oliver or Davis fit Pettine's scheme? I definitely think both could work. I think I'd probably lean towards Oliver. To my mind, much more physical. He's a press man guy. Pettine loves those guys who are disruptors at the line of scrimmage. I think he'd fit in very nicely. Don't be surprised if we select a running back. I'd be very surprised if they selected a running back on day one. Anywhere throughout the draft? Yeah, that's a possibility. A lot of ball game left, Matt. Always. What team could we trade with if we moved up? My guess would be the Raiders. They obviously have the connection. Gutekunst has the connection with Reggie McKenzie at 10. And I know Gruden is kind of in charge of things there, but Reggie's still running the draft. So my hunch is if they saw somebody falling, that would be their first call. Now, if they want to get a little higher than that, I'm not sure. Maybe Tampa. Who knows? Trade Clay Matthews to the Patriots. What are we playing, fantasy football here? I doubt the Patriots are going to want to take on Clay Matthews' contract. Ty Montgomery doesn't really have any tradable value. I saw somebody suggest trading Ty. The one thing he has going for him is his youth. He's on the last year of his deal. He's cheap, so those things are attractive. But the fact that he can't stay on the field is going to give teams pause. Denzel Ward, Landon, it's a possibility. You can't say it's not. He's definitely would fit the bill of a defensive difference maker at the top of the draft that the Packers could be targeting. Let's see. Isn't this the part of the show where the homers suggest we draft a Badger? I don't think any Badgers are getting drafted early. I think Nelson had a chance to be drafted on day 2, but after that injury when he was working out with the Lions, I think day 3 is probably his best bet. What would it cost to move up to the top 7? Probably a 3rd round pick, maybe a late round pick. Maybe their 2nd, but I think that's a little rich. But you never really know. What's that? Who do you feel is worth trading up for? Man, that's yeah. I mean, that's if you're asking my opinion. I definitely think Minkah Fitzpatrick fits the bill. I think Tremaine Edmonds, to me, is the one guy really worth giving up some draft capital to go get. I think he would be an absolute difference maker in the middle of Pettine's defense. Chubb obviously would be a great target, but I can't imagine they're going to – I can't imagine Chubb getting past 4, the Browns' 2nd pick, and I can't imagine Gutekunst being that aggressive where he would give up maybe 2 or even 3 picks to go get him. But without having a track record to go off of, it's really hard to say with Gutekunst. Rodgers' contract wouldn't be a topic if Hundley didn't chew gum. That's possibly the greatest Facebook comment ever. What do you think is more important, pass rush or secondary help? I asked Brian Gutekunst that exact question on Monday morning. And as he pointed out, it all works together. It all works in concert. Can't really ever say definitively one is more important than the other. But as he did also point out, big guys are harder to find than little guys. And that's true from the start of football at Pop Warner level all the way through the NFL. Which, hey, Vita Vea, sitting there at 14. Maybe they pull the trigger. Do you see any free agency moves before the draft? I thought possibly they may give Des Bryant a call tomorrow, just to try and pitch him a low-ball offer. I know he has said he wants a 1-year deal, so he can kind of do a prove-it thing and show the world that he still got it. What better quarterback to use in that regard than Aaron Rodgers? I mean, it's got to be tempting to, right? Tempting. I mean, last year, obviously, they had Jari Evans the day before the draft. Maybe they call him back up. Back in the day, they signed Charles Woodson shortly before the draft, so they've got history of making that kind of move. But realistically, I'd be surprised if they make any moves prior to tomorrow night. Let's see. BJ Raji at 14. There it is. There's the Raj you mentioned. Hey, the guys took a lot longer today. Could they get Hughes and Landry in the first? I suppose. I mean, you can't say it's impossible. In that scenario, are you taking Landry at 14? I don't know if they'd value him at 14. That's a possibility, but then jump back up into the bottom of the first round and get Hughes. Actually, in my mock draft that I put up earlier today, which you should all check out, I actually toyed with giving them Hughes at 14. I think he's that good. The problem, of course, is he comes in under their height threshold for cornerbacks. Gutekunst did say they look at the tape first, see if the guy can play, and I don't think there's any doubt there with Hughes. But yeah, could they do it? Absolutely. Would they? That combination specifically? I'd be surprised. Did the bro meeting ever happen? Tim, not that we know of, and I've checked a bunch of times. Now, maybe it happened in secret, we just don't know about it, but as far as I can tell, it didn't happen here, and I can't find any reporting that it happened in San Francisco either. Hundley chewing gum or Raji, better bit. Matt, I don't know, man. I think the Hundley chewing gum bit is probably a little newer, a little fresher, if you will. Oh man, these are coming crazy fast. Aaron and Dez would never get past whether or not it was a catch, not an option. That's pretty good. Possible they trade up to 7 and still keep 14? Whew, minimal. I would tend to think one of the ways they get up to 7 is by giving 14. What is your gut instinct for the pick for the Packers? Nick, I love it when people say, Hughes would be a reach at 14. Only because you've read draft coverage for the last 2 months telling you so. We have no idea what NFL teams think about him. For all we know, he may be the top cornerback on people's boards. He may be the top corner on their board right in there. We don't know. Aside from Mike Mayock's draft tonight, absolutely. Mayock does a fantastic job. Let's see. Would it make more sense to move up from 45 rather than 14? It really depends on where they value the guys on the board when, people start to fall. It's so impossible to answer these questions without having, being privy to their draft grades. Looking at it from the outside, yes, I think that makes more sense. Stay at 14, draft someone there that you find value in at 14, and then when the bottom of the first round is coming to a close, see who's available, and if you find someone you like that you think is, has extreme value, then jump back up from 45 and grab that guy. I think that makes a lot of sense. The question is, I have no idea who they would have that grade on, and I have no idea who might fall. Ty at receiver, he'll play both, James. I don't think they'll move him completely away from running back, but I think he'll do a bit of both. I say keep Kaiser and ship Hundley. It's a possibility, definitely. Ryan, is it Thursday night yet? Oh, so close. I cannot wait for this draft to start. I think today I finally broke. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to jump, but thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry I couldn't get to your question. They are coming back flying by today like crazy. But make sure you're checking PackersNews.com. Check out that link there. It's pinned at the top of the comment section. Or just head to PackersNews.com. We got tons of great draft content, tons of great Packers stuff. Get all of it, read all of it, consume all of it. Tom and Michael put up their latest podcast earlier this morning, so make sure you check that out. In the meantime, barring any breaking news, I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to go live prior to the draft. I'll go live after their pick. We'll have wrap-up stuff, obviously, after they make the selection, no matter what happens. So make sure you're tuned in, PackersNews.com, here on Facebook. We'll be all over it tomorrow. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great night.